Okay, Yofi. Okay. Good morning, everybody. The month of Tevet, sponsored by the Englenos, the Nishmat Avram Chai ben Yosef Shimon, and sorry about that. And the week is sponsored by Michael and Phyllis Miller, in honor of the 5th Yortzeit of Phyllis's brother, Mordechai Nachman Chaim Meir, Michael and Cindy Levy, and Josh and Marilyn Adler, in birth of a granddaughter, Nathaniel and Noah, Daniela and Yoni Berg, in honor of their daughter's Ara Hallel's first birthday. Also, the week is sponsored, Leilui Nishmat Golan ben Shalom, Teheh Nishmatot Tzura B'tzor HaChaim, Bezrat Hashem. Okay, so Chevra, let's focus, and I'm sorry we're starting late, but I'll definitely fix that. We're on Daf. If you could just close that, if you can close the door. We're going to be starting on the pamphlets that you have on Daf Chav Gimel. Okay? Daf Chav Gimel. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech she'akol nהיה b'dvaro. A quick just recap of what was is that we began discussing the whole concept of Orod de Tohu bekelim de Tikkun. We were speaking about this world of Tohu and the light that it couldn't contain it, couldn't handle it, and it was also like just something like Shviras HaKelim, it exploded, and now we're basically, and that was part of the whole Bria. We're in the process of Olam HaTikun, where we have a lot of very solid vessels. They have a lot of solid vessels that can contain everything, contain a lot.
Are these vessels referring to the Bnei Adam, or
the world, the Bnei Adam? Yeah, the way we are, the world, the whole function of the world. It's just a different world now. Everything's all about vessels. But where's the light? Where's the light? That's what we were speaking about. And now it's time to bring in light into the kelim, into the actual kelim, into the vessels that we have, bringing about a beautiful merger between Orot de Tohu and Kelim de Tikkun, a merger between lights and vessels. And that's what we were speaking about last time. We got very, very deep into it. These are deep Kabbalistic ideas. And right now we're Daf Chav Gimel. The bottom of Daf Chav Gimel is going to explain to us where we're at exactly. Muvan im ken, sheshnei ha'olamot halalu, tohu v'tikun, tzrichim lashuv u'litchaber. It's very clear that these two worlds, the Olam HaTohu and the Olam of Tikkun, have to come back and reconnect with each other. Achibur hazeh hu tikkun ha'olam b'movan ha'pashut biyoter. This is so beautiful. Everyone always speaks about, these two words that everyone uses. They sound so, I'm trying not to use the word I want. Yeah, they sound so fluffy. And what's those two words? Tikkun olam. So what do you feel like doing when someone says, let's do Tikkun olam? Like what's one of the actions you may think, based on the way the world darshans it out, Tikkun olam?
Use the proper pronouns.
What's that?
Use the right pronouns.
Use the right pronouns. There's a cannabis company called Tikkun Olam also, yes. What else? What else is like Tikkun Olam? Like volunteer, right? Like let's give out toys or candies or what's it?
Conscripted to refer to going to Africa.
Right. Exactly.
But it's lost the whole concept.
It's lost the whole concept. Let's go now back into our world. Tikkun Olam literally means fixing the world that we're in. How?
By getting rid of all the evil.
That's part of it. You can get rid of all the evil, and then what are you left with? You have to bring the Oros from the world of Tohu into the Kelim, into the world of Tikkun. Tikkun Olam, and that's how he says here. This is the most simple meaning. Hatichibur hazeh hu tikkun olam b'muvan ha'pashut biyoter letaken ma shenishbar, leachzir et ha'orot detohu letoch kli ha'metziut. Ve'apam b'tzura shetuchal lihitkayem, but this time in a manner that it could actually exist. Meaning what? Back, we're not talking about time, but in the world of Tohu, the light couldn't exist in that world in a functioning manner. It was a ribui or so much that it couldn't exist in a functioning manner. What are we trying to do now? Bringing orot from the world of Tohu into the world of Kelim Hesharcha, actually. In the world of Kelim de Tikkun. But in a manner that it could work. This is very high language. I want to explain to you, Rav Ginter is going to explain to us through something a very high moment that happened one morning at 770. There was one morning in 770, the exact date is here, where the Rebbe made a statement, and from that moment the Rebbe made that statement, everything kind of changed and shifted. There's a few more booklets here for Chaver that need pages. So it says like this. באופן זה מדריך אותנו הרבי בשיחתו המפורסמת מכ"ח ניסן תשנ"א. So the Rebbe, when's כ"ח ניסן תשנ"א? What year is that? 91, April 91. Now, כ"ח Nisan, before, on the calendar, what is that right before? Rosh Chodesh Iyar. We're back to Iyar again. Right before the month of Iyar that we've been speaking about. The Rebbe gets up and he says like this, as a hachana for the avoda of the spiritual work of Chodesh Iyar. Ve'omer she'al menat le'avi et HaMashiach. The Rebbe is basically now, from this time, the Rebbe is speaking like full on, just all Mashiach talk. It's all clear words. It's like, it was never as clear, like the now we're living in a world where you say Lubavitch and it's always in a context, it's all Mashiach stuff. But it wasn't fully clear like that until basically towards the end of the years, where the Rebbe basically said said clear words about what it's gonna take to bring Mashiach. So it's Chavchet Nisan, Tafshin Nun Aleph, and the Rebbe says like this: you have to bring the Mashiach. Yesh lif'ol b'derech shel orot detohu bekelim detikun. He said these words, meaning we have to now tap into light that we never tapped into before, light that's coming from the world before there was the shattering of vessels, and placing it into the vessels of tikkun that we have in the world that we have right now, meaning thousands of years where the world existed. We've created an infrastructure here. We have amazing minds to be able to contain so much wisdom. There's so much wisdom in the world. There's so much functioning. There's so much development. The world wasn't like that until now, right? But now the question is, with all the advancements that we've made with our minds and produced vessels for, do we now realize we need to now infuse all those vessels with, or from the oreganos, from the concealed light, right? What does that mean exactly? Orot de tohu bekelim de tikkun. Let's even try to bring it down even clearer. Mul charifut hamashberim hamitrakshim alin bimot ikvasa de Mashiach. Amidst the deep, difficult crisis that are coming upon us before Mashiach's coming, in the days of Ikvasa de Mashiach, ובגבור התחושה שהמציאות הגלויה אין בה די כוח לחלק את עצמה מקלעה, which means, and as we also look, then we see that the revealed reality that we have in front of us, working with what we have in front of us right now, does anyone see any way out of this mess? Working with what's in front of us right now, with all the leads we have, with all the advancements that we have right now, even with all the Torah that we have right now. Does anyone see, working with what exists right now, that we have enough to get ourselves out of this mishigas?
Sitting here, I do.
Well, sitting here, only if we... You're very sweet.
No, I'm saying learning like this.
Right, but learning lemaisa, so merit.
Practice.
This is making us realize how little we have.
Right, which is also a maila, by the way, because the Rebbe once said the greatest sign of someone that's very sick is someone that doesn't realize that they're sick. So at least if you realize that you're sick, you're already halfway towards the refuah, right? Meaning, looking, and especially with Am Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael today, looking with the infrastructure of what we have right now, with the leadership that we have right now, and with all that we're working with right now, unless we go deep into the orot of the Am itself and extract from within ourselves, orot like we never did before, light like we never did before, orot de tohu, orot that's coming from a place before there was shviras hakelim. This world tikkun olam, it won't work. But we keep on, it's like we're budging our head against the wall. Rosh bakir, that's the concept in Hebrew. No, we'll try it like this, we'll try it like this, we'll try it like this. And the spiritual revolution says, it's not that we're going to try it like this and get it better and deeper. It's that we're digging into a wellspring of light within each and every one of us, that exists within each and every one of us, that was never tapped into before. There's two things you need for that: anava and emunah. Anava, meaning, as much as you've tried, we haven't been successful. Humble yourself. Bet, if I dig deeper, I'll find something I never found before. And I need emunah for that. Anava and emunah are the ways or the pathways for us to figure out how to do any of this type of work that he's speaking of. Again, humbling ourselves before the notion that as much as we've tried to get things done, ze pashut lo olech, you humble yourselves. It's not, this 75-year program is not working. It doesn't work. But emunah means, but I have to believe in Nishmat Am Yisrael, that there's something within each and every one of us that has not yet been accessed. In me, there's a whole world of light that has not been accessed yet. Maybe because no one taught me, or maybe because no one told me that it's actually even there. Anava and emunah, to tap into what this light is all about. Anu, look how he ends off, third line from the bottom. Anu nidchafim lehaiz yoter. We are pushed, we are forced to have more oz, to have more holy chutzpah, lishtamesh bakochot, to use kochot she'adata, that until now, hashimush bahem. You ready for this one? You ready for this? This is pretty out there. Lishtamesh ata bekochot she'adata, hashimush bahem haya nechshav lemesukan ve'af leharsani.
Harsani like homeless, to destroy?
Huh?
Destructive.
He says, in the past, these kochot may have been perceived as dangerous and destructive. Now, before we go further, what do you think he's speaking about right now?
Learning Kabbalah.
Okay, learning Kabbalah, bicholiot. What else?
Nuclear bombs.
Nuclear bombs, okay. Are you a Shabak agent? You're a Shabaknik, aren't you? You're trying to trigger us, yeah? Do you hear that with the last sentence, what he just said right now? Where we need to use now, I'm going to just say the word, even though I don't mean it, lechan. We need to use weapons that in the past may have been considered to be destructive and dangerous, and yet now, when you're working in a world of chibur, of orot and kelim, that's what's needed right now. What else do you think he means? I mean, there's some good stuff going on over here. What did you say? You said Kabbalah, you said nuclear bombs, what else?
Wisdom from the Balat Shuba, from people from outside.
Wow, wisdom from the outside. Zeh mashu gadol me'od, 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 nachon. That's very good. That in the past, it would have been deemed as treif. Dangerous and destructive.
Yeah.
Very good. Do you think he means here, I'm just stretching our minds right now. Do you think he means here right now, like wisdom from the other nations?
Yeah.
Wisdom from other nations?
No.
Negative. Okay, I'm just stretching our, again, I'm doing a mental exercise right now. Do you think he means over here
Anger.
anger
is something that's always thought of to be destructive.
Destructive and
but I don't see how it could be used in positive.
Some of the nations have been excellent at warfare, so we need to learn how to do that.
okay, but you're sticking to military. You're sticking to military strategic. Okay, beseder. I want to read this line again, just so we make sure that we heard what he said.
I think we're talking about there's a lot of truth in the Torah that we have been taught from childhood to kind of ignore that.
I'm sorry. Say that again. I want to.
It's kind of, we go superficially over the truths.
Yeah.
Which include, as we've been learning before with you, the whole concept, what is Nekama?
Right.
Why was Pinchas so chashuv that he got the blessing of kahuna, of peace?
Very good.
For doing a destructive act.
Very good.
And
Very good.
we don't deal with it, not in our elementary schools, but not in our yeshiva gavoas and not in our seminaries.
Nachon.
These concepts.
Nachon.
And these are the concepts that I think are referred to as
What?
possibly dangerous and even destructive.
Right.
So
puzzle. So we say puzzle.
We leave it aside.
Listen, Eretz Yisrael was also considered, like the vision of having a country, of being a people in a land, was also considered, what did he say here? Mesukan ve'af harsani. You have to realize that, right? Even having a Jewish homeland could also fall into this category of, listen, that's already, you're messing with possible destruction.
Of the pre-state time.
Saw it as dangerous. Dangerous and destructive.
Not only we don't want to join it, it's going to be harmful.
Dangerous and
To this day,
destructive.
there are those who say You're
Wait, we're not talking about them. We're not going there. Go.
I want to take it to strictly relying on the Kadosh Baruch Hu.
What do you mean?
Well, some people might say, well, just relying on the Kadosh Baruch Hu, that's dangerous and
And destructive.
We need to do more than our share of Ishtadlut, right? We just, how about we take a step back? Just rely
This is very important. Lechatchila Ariber means the way you think, before you even attack, before you do an action, the way that you approach something is not, in Hebrew you say Rosh Katan, which basically means if I do that, and I do that, and I do that, and I do that, and I figure this, and I go through that, and I go, no. Like it's Lechatchila Ariber, and the most like simple way of explaining this is that Ma Biduk HaShe'ela, you reconquer this whole place of Eretz Yisrael that's been used for hatred and murder and death, and you bring Or Me'in Kamo into a place of Choshech Me'in Kamo, instead of the tactics that till today, till right now, the leaders of the Jewish people, the so-called leaders of the Jewish people, are engaging with. That's one example. That's an example we could all relate to right now. The Lechatchila Ariber is a total mindset. It's an amazing mindset in terms of how does a person approach anything in life that seems to be an obstacle. And there are many more examples for this that we'll be discussing. But everything. Lechatchila Ariber is a positive mindset of not we can, it's we will. What does we can mean? It means efshar to go another route, a higher route. Lechatchila Ariber is we can, like President Hussein in America. That was his whole thing, right? Yes, we can, right? You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Yes, we can. No. Yes, we will is like claiming facts and saying, oh, yeah, we will do this because we're on Olam HaTikun. It's a different world. Now it's a different world. We're here for the end game, for Mashiach, for the whole thing. Yes, we will. Like a chayal on his own, right? In his own heart, he goes into krav with Lechatchila Ariber, right? Maybe the commands he's getting aren't Lechatchila Ariber. But he himself is poyal as a shliach of tzva Hashem to bring the Kiddush Hashem into the world in his own personal domain. He's working in a Lechatchila Ariber format, right? But this boils down, like Steve said before, this boils down to really every single approach we have in life with any single michshol. As a people in the country, there's been zero Lechatchila Ariber here. It hasn't yet manifested here. It's still, like we were speaking about, influences from foreign cultures and things. Like last night I was doing with my daughter, Baruch Hashem, she just texted me that she had a good history test this morning. We were learning about Alexander Mukdon and talking about Hellenism, b'chulei. This is stuff that's rooted in us for a long time already. And Oros and Kalim, the way the Rebbe spoke about it in that Chav Ches Iyar, is telling us the Mashiach, to bring the Mashiach, you got to be working with a different mindset of how you approach obstacles. How you approach obstacles. I mean, one of the things we said at the beginning of these shurim was it really should be changed from IDF to IOF. Like on IOF means Lechatchila Ariber. Nachon?
What's IOF?
Instead of Israel Defense Forces, in Hebrew it wouldn't change. Tzva Atkafa Yisrael or Tzva Hagana Yisrael. It would still be Tzahal.
Proud that we call ourselves defense force.
Yeah, to me it's such a Golasdika terminology, and I've been talking about this with people, a lot of people. I don't want to Chalila hurt, Chalila be Pergan, anyone. I'm just thinking about, avoidance of future Shiva homes when I have these conversations. Lechatchila Ariber is IOF. Right?
It seems like there's a two sides of the coin situation happening here, as usual. On the one hand, you have to have that humility.
I'm sorry, I just want to hear when anyone says something, I mamish want to be fully focused. Say it again?
It seems like we're dealing with two sides of the coin here, as usual. On the one hand, you have to have the humility to be able to harness the light of the Torah. But at the same time, you also have to be able to have action of overwhelming force when one knows that they're following the right path of the Torah, but you have to just go and chop off the head of the snake
or all these other examples.
Whatever it is.
But you can only but it's very good what you're saying, because you can only really do it with anava and emut, meaning that's the gateway to get to be able to do these things. You can't do it just this
humility throughout the nation. I think that
it's not a contrast. It's
not a contrast. Now look, in the modern state that we're in we're just going to do 2 more minutes. It's that this is like this oz, this strength, this spirit of strength is something that can only come when you realize that dwelling back here in Eretz Yisrael and building the country, the only purpose of it is real tikkun olam and not anything else. If we're here trying to build a place that's just good for the Jewish people to have a homeland, you'll keep on banging your head in the wall, churban after churban, over and over and over again. Zot omeret, like he's going to explain to us over here, if this series is called Tikkun Medina, it means, listen, having a Medina, it can be the greatest blessing or it could be the greatest curse in the world. Let's go the other way. How could it be the greatest curse? Because if you're using it as a place, as a safe haven, that, Baruch Hashem, it aligns with Tanakh, because it's the geographical location, so it's not Uganda. So it aligns with the Tanakh, Baruch Hashem. But more than that, it's just a place that, Jewish people could have a safe place, right? You're going to get hit. That's not Lechatchila Ariber, that's crawling. You're going to keep on getting hit. It's not going to stop. It won't stop. It's Rosh Bakir, it won't stop. But if our whole understanding of our being here is actually to bring Mashiach, it's to bring peace and harmony to the whole world, that means the way that I live here and the way that I approach obstacles here is with mochin of orot from Olam Hato into the world of Tikkun. Like that's how my approach has to be about living here. The way I live here is completely different than the way that I think about it in anywhere else in the world. Now, none of us, to the best of my knowledge, I don't know if any, I've never said this following thing before, it sounds pretty weird, but I don't know if any of you are Garian, But to the best of my knowledge, we're all born Jewish, so we don't know what it's like to live like a nice suburban, life in, I don't know, name me a random Lach and Golders Green, Wichita. Give me some more good, juicy, comfortable, grass is mowed in the mailbox. All those. I'm thinking more like, those are too Jewish. I'm talking about like Kentucky or Utah or Louisiana, right? Louisiana, like. Those kind of, there's such a, I sometimes have it, such a Yetzer Hara, I have such a taiva of living a life, of conducting a life that's just lo mesubach, right? But I feel that there's a drive in this country to also have that here, but that's not what it's meant for. That's not what this Medina is meant for. Mashiach business is exciting, full-on action business. It's not that, what a taiva. Huh? It won't be televised. I have such a taiva. I have such a taiva for that, like, to make, finally, but be'emet, that I know in the pnimius of my life, as long as I'm connected to my heart, even if I got that here or there, but even here, I would feel like such a hypocrite. I'd feel so empty. I'd feel so wrong. I would mamish feel wrong. And the shift is, orot de tohu bekelim de tikkun means a much greater version of peace and grass and mailbox that we can understand. It's much, much better than that, but it's not yet in a manner that we've ever experienced, right? Now, there's a taiva, but again, that taiva is real. I'll tell you, this happened to me. I saw this one time. Like, when did I experience this? One night, I had a concert in Crown Heights. It's a long time ago. And the next night, I had a concert in Brookline, in Massachusetts, in Boston. And I didn't want to fly, because I didn't want to fly. I had a rental with me, and I had to be a few nights later back in Five Towns or in New Jersey. I don't remember exactly. And I also knew that the Naismith Hall of Fame was on the way from where I was in Crown Heights to where I had to be in Massachusetts. That's the basketball Hall of Fame. Huh? It's right by the interstate. Right. And I wanted to be there since I was a kid. And I let the little kid in me decide this is what we're doing, right? Now, what was the chap that I had? I was like, I'm going to be so adventurous. Even though today with Waze, there's no such thing as really being adventurous, right? So I started driving after because it was pouring. It was November. I'll never forget this. It was late at night. It was pouring. And I just started driving towards Brooklyn, towards the Hall of Fame, even though I was only going to go there in the morning, right? But I just started driving, and I said, when I get to a stop, when I'm tired, I'll just Waze, what are the names of those, like, motels on the road? Huh? Right, Best Western. To me, Best Western is the highest. It's like these things are the highest. It's like, it's so geschmack, right? It's so geschmack. The thing is that I was getting tired and I had no idea where I was at all. I'm not from that area. I had no idea where I was. So I just put in Best Western or one of those things. Right away, I found something, like all these places are packed there with all these, right? I get off the highway, I park. There's this, it's like 3 a.m, and some guy is so, hi sir, how can I help you? I always want to punch them because it's such kinna. I'm like, you're making me hate Israeli customer service even more now, right? It's 3 a.m. Hi sir, how may I help you, right? I was like, please, can I just have a room? Said, sure, sir. Can I carry you? Stop. No, you cannot carry. I got this. Okay, good night. Went to the room. I had no idea where I was. I couldn't tell on the map or anything. I was so tired also. I went to sleep. I woke up in the morning, and I was trying to figure out where I actually was. And I walked outside to take a walk, and I was so angry because it was so peaceful. It was one of these verstinken towns that nothing has ever happened there, nothing will ever happen there, and that's okay for them, right? And it was honestly, I'm telling you this story because it was one of the most painfully heartbreaking shachrises I ever had in that motel I've ever had in my life. Why? Because obviously it's always been full of tension here in Eretz Yisrael. It's never changed. Right? It's always been like this. I was saying, I'm like, Am Yisrael, been through so much. It brought out in me this inyan of like, I know that what we want now is to just stop worrying and having this, nothing peace, this nothing happening kind of towns happening in our lives, but we know that we're not destined for it. And it's so heartbreaking begging you for Kalim to understand what is the bigger picture of what you have in mind for us. And it was a beautiful shachar. I had a beautiful shachar, but it was so heartbreaking. But that's a lower level shachar. The higher level shachar would have been, Ribbon Shleilam, look at what your Yidden are not striving towards. This is not the Yidden that are leading the pulse of the nation, Eretz Yisrael. We know this is not in our cards. We know. Now I would love to see. I would like to go on the map and see what place it actually was. I never found out. So I woke up and I just kept on, after davening, I just kept on driving. I got there. It was like the first one. I found out the hours when it was open. I was like the first one at Naismith that day. And I stayed there for hours. But we're here for something much bigger. Oros de Tov Bekelim de Tikkun. It's an exciting thing, but it's something that we haven't yet tasted. So I'm just going to finish these 2 paragraphs. עוז הרוח שבהוראה לאמץ את אפשרות הדילוג כבחירה ראשונית, בא מתוך ההכרה שהגיע זמנם של אורות דתוהו להאיר במציאות. I'm saying this on a very simple level. He's saying this mighty spirit that tells us, no, don't. Lechatchila Ariber, already when you approach an obstacle, you hop over it. It can only come when a person realizes the time is now. I'm living in a mitzvah of now. That light that has never been experienced yet in this world, it's time right now to be here in this world. כל זמן שנמשכה בנייתו של עולם התיקון, צריך היה להתחשב במאזן הקיום הדין שנמצא עדיין בתהליך התהוותו. As long as the building of the world of Tikkun, and just that building of the world of Tikkun was the main thing, you always had to be very considerate of the balance between Orot and Kelim. Because the world of Tikkun is the focus and it's still being built. לכן לא ניתן היה להשתמש בכוחות העומדים לרשותנו, Therefore, we couldn't access certain powers that we have in our midst. ופעמים רבות נאלץ אדם לזחול וללכת סביב סביב. And quite often a person was forced to crawl and do sivuvim instead of jumping over the obstacle. Why? כיוון שהוא יודע שפריצה ישירה אל שורש העניין לא תתרום לעולם לא במובן הרחב. Because the person knew that jumping straight into the source, into the root of the matter, would not have brought anything really substantial to the world. It's a very big statement. What is he? Give me an example of what he may be referring to. Before 1948, let's say. Before 1948, if I would have jumped into, I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking something very clear. I just have to explain this better. He's saying up until a certain time, jumping right into something, Lechatchila Ariber, wouldn't have done what it really should do, which is to bring a tremendous amount of illumination to the world. It would have probably caused more bilbul. But
saying like leaving the yeshivas and like joining the first and second wave of Aliyah? What you're referring to, or clearly not?
No, but that's interesting because the Rebbe Rashab's son, the Maharash's son, the Rebbe Rashab was like fiercely anti-Zionist. So I don't know. It's interesting. No, I'm thinking more is that if a few Jews would have decided we're going to go up and conquer Har HaBayit before there was any kli for as a Medina for people to come here, what would have that done? But it's a different program now, you see. But that's the whole thing, is that we have a different program. We have a different vessel in place to contain light like never before. But as we're standing on the footsteps of days of the coming of the Mashiach, מצביעה בפנינו המציאות עצמה על הצורך ההכרחי להתחיל להעיז. But now, there's a reality that's telling us there's a necessity to begin to dare. Leha'iz means to be daring. Daring. Conquering the world. Going out there and conquering the whole world with light, like never before. Bold. Very good word. Be bold. דגם כזה. של אורות דתו בכלים דתיקון, דגם כזה, this example, this model of אורות דתו בכלים דתיקון, ננסה לפתח בפרקים הבאים. We're going to try to develop this, what this lemaisa means here in Eretz Yisrael, within the vessel that we have that's called the Medina. זהו תפקיד כל יחיד בתוכנו, the jobs on each individual, and also ותפקיד הציבור בכללו. And it's the job of everyone in general as a tzibur. Lechatchila Ariber. Now, before we learn again on Wednesday, I'm going to send you different explanations, different sichos that describe Lechatchila Ariber in many different ways, so that we could have a really good understanding of this concept, because this book is basically based on Lechatchila Ariber. And when you think about it, the ability to do anything today is really based on the Lechatchila Ariber. And I'll also teach you the Nigun also next time, because that'll be a good way to start the learning of Lechatchila Ariber. Just because we just got to, I wanted to do more today, but it's already late. Bezrat Hashem, Wednesday morning we're going to continue. One more important thing before I forget. Thursday night, I'm going to start saying it now. Thursday night, I want you all to come with me. I found Gan Eden Aliyah. I found Gan Eden in Eretz Yisrael. Gan Eden on Eretz Yisrael is about 2 minutes from Kibbutz Be'eri, next to Gaza. It's a place called Shuva. There's a tiny little Sephardi yeshuv called Shuva that's right outside the kibbutzim that were shechted and slaughtered, next to Kfar Aza, next to Niroz, Saad, Alumim, Miflasim, all right there. And I went there last week, and I went there again last night. This center, it's a stop, it's a junction that it's basically the place that all the Chayalim, when they're going into Gaza, they pass through, and all that come out pass through it too. Some boys from the local town there set up shop and created Gan Eden. It started with just setting up a little bit of food for hungry Chayalim coming out of battle. Now it's been developed into a merkaz, into like a center. The center. It's in the middle of a street where there's so much food and love and guitars and svarim and acceptance and amcha. And a good friend of mine just purchased a sound system that arrived mamish an hour before I got there yesterday. and there's nigunim, and the chayalim are coming in and out of battle. That's the stop. That's the point. And the place was already called Shuva. They didn't name it now. So I want to come with everyone. I'm going back Thursday evening to give them a Chana l'Shabbos, as if I'm giving them a Chana l'Shabbos. You see chayalim. I was there yesterday for hours. You see the faces of Shimshon. You see the faces of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Mamish. It's one of the highest. I don't know. I'm not going to ruin it. I'm not going to give you too much expectations. Thursday night, I'm not sure exactly it's going to be 7 or 8 p.m. It's an hour and 20 minutes from, you guys realize how close it is? Yeah. It's an hour and 20 minutes. It's nothing. And we're going to go Thursday evening and yeah, eventually you get to Shesh and go south. But it's not so far. We'll go b'Shayara as many as possible and make it Leibadek. Okay? Lechatchila Ariber. We'll go Lechatchila Ariber.